Kwagu'ł Eagle River, and you can sit down. Namadabin. Hello, everybody. Vernon Indigenous, Kitagon Zibin and Donjabawa, Washnedodam, Shichonim Kipanesi, the Tajiminendo, and Dodinizon Shenongo, Mamweka Kinapamats, and his work, Kwagu'ł Eagle River for the honor song, the welcome song. I'd like to welcome you here to our traditional unceded lands. And what does unceded mean is that we haven't signed treaty, really, similar to other treaties. So here we are today, and that's with this royal proclamation too, as well. So it's a complicated history. But today we're here to talk about reconciliation. And I brought my canoe. It's a pretty beat up canoe. I don't think it would float now. But I brought it to represent that we are all on a journey to reconciliation. And I'm very honored because last year too as well, we had the honor of being here to unveil the residential school monument and done by Stanley Hunt. And we honor the artwork today as well. I also brought from our community, we're also known for the maple syrup. Why I brought this is I wanted to make you all sweet. No. The winters here were so harsh. And one of our teachings is that a lot, when we were on the land, we're known as the Omamaninawag, so we would move seasonally. We were nomadic. But also with the winters, it was so harsh, so we were given the gift of maple syrup. We call it in the Notago Sizabakut. And one of the teachings to that is that after a long, hard winter, to not forget about the sweetness of life. And part of this is this reconciliation journey, and the 94 calls of actions are a reminder too as well, or it's like an earmark every year to say how far have we come in this reconciliation journey. And it's not just one day of the year, but it's ongoing. So I'm just going to say a little opening prayer in the language, also to honor our ancestors too, because we were also impacted by the residential school system, and not realizing too as well, working at the Assembly of First Nations in the 90s with the Royal Commission, and then all the testimonials started to pour in. And then it started to make sense in terms of also, I used to wonder why we had so many social issues and family breakdown. And again, that's that reconciliation journey. It starts with awareness. So I'm honored that you're here today as well, and I have tobacco, and that's part of our protocol. And it's anytime you harvest or ask somebody to do something, there would be a protocol of offering tobacco. And I hold this for our gathering today too. And I offer this back to the sacred fire or the falls, because it's our connection from the physical world to the unseen world. So I say, Miigwech, onjenya gashkito chuma ondose gonshe nongo mama kakina pamatse jikden is wa gonshe onje ya kakina ya abanoji shag gimaji chuan mishnoni nabigis. Miigwech onje kakina gagishen danoshe mam de gen in the kimenon. Shkaki question kason in the kimenon widow kakina pamatse jik onje nagadawabdan kakina gujia in the kimenon mam de gen ishnabeaki. Miigwech onje kakina etiki kishagad. Kizis, to be kizis, a shichanang shak, we do when no commisnan on Jane Agadwabdan Kakina Guchia Nibi, a shichnimishum sanan, kizis on Jane Agadwabdan Kakina Guchia Ishkude, Miigwechonjin a sewin, Kagimijin, Chiminopomazian, we do Kakina, Mam de Gegiakas, Jekia COVID 19 Shinkad, Degashich Kakina Guchia Akasawin, Miigwechonjin a sewin, Kagimijin, Chiminopomazian. We do kwa kakina mam de gay ki kakina guchia ki akas winchich Miigwechonjin in Gino and Daganak Nimishom Sinan, Nagok Misnan, a Shich Nidon Denis on Shay non Gomonje, the Bashka Dagamag, Abanoji Shak Kamashed, Deniswak, we do quack Mondegegi gi magic mame ya kina magewen nungum widokwa kakina ya newesisak kakina gujya ashit widokwa akazik the magazijik kaya we wisnajik kaya we mi godwajik nungum chuana kiwa jashit chiminop mazuaj enabiges kan squat ni gwede simene shit kana noj kuch ni gwede simen shwen mishnon mi gwach is thank you, say merci en algonquin. J'ai dit ça 4 fois, I say it 4 times, to honor the 4 directions. And this place is very special because it's at that confluence of the four directions with the waters, because we would meet here in the summer. And again, with colonization, that was all upset. So again, too, I honor our gathering today, and I send prayers to our ancestors and the children that didn't make it home, and the children who survived, but also and come into understanding of what intergenerational trauma is. And what the elders said, I said this yesterday, sitting in the lodge, they said, you know, we've had this trauma since 1492. They always talk about Christopher Columbus and the turmoil that happened on contact. But if you really, really look at it too, the people who landed on our shores, a lot of times were escaping oppression and violence. And so as we're healing from this trauma too as well, everybody also, sometimes we all have to look at our own histories. And why did the newcomers' ancestors come here too? Because it takes a lot to leave a place where you're familiar with, your ancestors are from, to go to a new world. And again, to why we say this, we all need healing, is because what are we doing to Mother Earth, the planet? So reconciliation goes deeper too as well. So miigwech everybody, merci. Thank you. And now I would like to call up Caroline. Dormoget.
Miigwech, thank you, Elder McGregor, for your opening prayer. It's always such a great privilege to have you with us, and thank you, Indigenous Experiences, for that welcome. So good morning, everyone. My name is Caroline Dromaguet, and I'm the President and CEO of the Canadian Museum of History. Alors, bienvenue tout le monde. Merci beaucoup d'être ici avec nous. Alors, on vous reçoit ici en ligne et en personne. Et c'est un honneur d'être avec vous dans le salon 4 saisons, en cette journée nationale de la vérité et de la réconciliation. Vous vous souvenez peut-être que nous avons dévoilé il y a 1 an déjà ce monument magnifique qui est juste ici à côté de moi en hommage aux personnes survivantes des pensionnats pour autochtones, ainsi qu'en mémoire de ceux et celles qui ne sont jamais revenus à la maison et qui portent encore aujourd'hui le poids de leur absence. C'est pour nous une fierté de l'avoir érigé ici, afin qu'on se souvienne pour toujours de ce chapitre douloureux de l'histoire de notre pays. Stanley C. Hunt, his Indian Residential School Memorial Monument, is a moving testament to the trauma of children removed from their families and their heritage. It is also a testament to the enduring strength of survivors, some of whom are here with us today. And it is a striking visual invitation for our visitors to bear witness to a difficult truth while also contributing to an ongoing process of reconciliation. Le Musée canadien de l'histoire, ainsi que notre institution sœur, le Musée canadien de la guerre, accordent beaucoup d'importance à la vérité et à la réconciliation. Nous continuons de mettre à jour nos expositions, nos programmes et nos collections en fonction de ces 2 principes. Et ce faisant, nous veillons également à rendre hommage à nos frères et sœurs autochtones et à leur rendre une place qui leur revient dans notre histoire commune. Mindful of the sacred nature of many of the items in our care, we also have developed a sacred materials project which segregates sacred objects from the rest of our collections. The same initiative provides Indigenous communities with opportunities to care for these objects while offering their insights. Our sincere thanks for the involvement of these community leaders and for their trust in sharing viable and valuable knowledge with us. I would now like to invite you, to join Indigenous Experience to the stage for a ceremonial performance. Thank you. That was absolutely wonderful. I would now like to direct your attention to the screen just over here for a 5-minute video featuring Stanley Hunt, master carver and creator of the Indian Residential School Memorial Monument.
Our dad passed away when I was 31. He gave me this gift of carving totem poles, carving masks. And I always wanted to carve, but I always thought that you had to be asked to carve. I was watching Dad carve and I just thought, I'd like to learn how to carve. And he just kind of glanced up at me and he just said, well, you need your own tools. But it took 3 weeks to make 4 knives. And then I've never done anything except that since then. The news of Kamloops started coming out with all, 215 children. There was a lot of people that were just like in disbelief. Our mom and dad went to St. Mike's. Dorothy and I were 60 scoop. I went for 3 years. Dorothy went for 7. People don't understand how devastating that was for the natives in Canada. And not only in Canada, all around the world. We're still seeing the after effects of that. And maybe it'll be another 100 years before it goes away. I think that something like this monument that gives people the chance to focus on it and see that it's a true story. When I was doing the concept drawings, I did have it drawn with the cross right side up. And then I was thinking about that doesn't tell the truth story. So I put the cross in the next drawing upside down with the Canadian maple leaf upside down, RCMP upside down, Northwest Mounted Police upside down. And that's not to insult, that's just to say that it's very, very bad decisions were made at that time. I wanted it to tell the truth. And that was the only way I could figure out how to tell the truth was to just start carving. And it came to me that I wanted to do our raven because he's the creator and he's the trickster. And you look closely at the raven on the monument, and his beak, he's holding the seed of life. I wanted our raven to be a big part of that. And then, obviously, I wanted to focus on the children. I was thinking about how to divide that into 1 foot, very regimented, clean squares, and how to make that come across as children. So if you look at all those children and all those squares, they're all at different degrees of grief. There was no children that volunteered to go to residential school, none of them. They were brought out of a system that worked for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Loving families, everybody had a duty, everybody had a responsibility, everybody made the family. So it was deliberately made to be a monument, not a totem pole. In fact, that breaks all the rules of a totem pole, to tell you the truth. Nobody's ever really blackwashed a totem pole before. That was a statement I wanted to do, just to say how dark that part of our history is. And the orange was obviously for the children's. I started thinking about our school, that we should ask them if they want to come down and bring the kids down 1 class at a time. And, we're just blackwashing. You can't go offline or anything. You just got to spread the paint out. So we had little tiny 3 and 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and then asked the Coast Guard if they'd like to come out and participate. Probably at least maybe 14 or 18 guys, all in their work uniforms, spent the entire day. We had a full RCMP escort. We did 12 ceremonies on Vancouver Island in 5 days. Then we brought it to the Coast Guard base downtown Victoria and loaded it on a hovercraft. They wanted to recognize their role,
take responsibility for what they did, teach all the RCMP that are coming from out of Regina now so they understand why Natives have such a big problem, that it's still kind of a rolling on a part of history. You know, the Army supported, they were the ones that brought it from Vancouver to Regina. Kamloops, you know, and I mean, it's really hard to talk about that still. And then to see all these reactions that we had across the country here, that will last in my heart forever. This is a huge part of Canadian history. It was kind of slid under the carpet and hidden for all these years. The monument had to be in some place of great significance. The way I saw it was to think, oh, the Canadian Museum of History. That should be where it stands because it's such a huge part of history. A monument like this should never have had to have been made, but because of the history, it did have to be made. My part of this part of our history is coming to an end for me. But when I leave here, we leave the monument here behind us. Once the curtains come down, then the monument can start its work.
Many thanks to Stanley Hunt for those moving words. J'invite maintenant Monsieur David de Canty, un survivant des pensionnats pour autochtones, à monter sur l'estrade et nous prononcer quelques mots.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David de Canty. I'm from Kitigan-Zibi, and I went to 2 different residential schools, one in Kenora, about 3 days train ride from home, and I was taken away at about that age, which is about 3.5 or 4 years old. Nobody can confirm that, but a lot of people I met that went to the school in that area said I was too young to be there. So having said that, I spent most of my childhood in residential schools. The other one I went to, it was in Point Bleu, which is about 12-hour drive by taxi to go there. This is where I really realized what a residential school was. There was no love, there was no sympathy. It was just plain violence against our people. I remember a lot of things, but I can't speak for the other people that were there. I can only speak for myself. And that I never had a paper except for this time, I'll read it at the end. But in those schools, they taught us to shut up and look ahead and being hit so often. Just because we could not speak my language, which I lost in the first residential school I was in Kenora. I completely lost it. When I came home, I didn't have time to reconnect with my family. They sent me to a French school. And I had to relearn a new language, French. This is the way the colonial people wanted us. They wanted to be. Take the Indian out of the child. And there's one moment, a friend of mine came in Kitigan-Zibi one day, and he says, in this book, he gave me a book, and he said, you know, when they opened that school in Point Bleu in 1960, September 1960, he said, the minister at the time said, in 20 years from now, that should have been 1980, There will be no more Indians. They will be assimilated. Fortunately, it didn't happen because I am here today. My daughter follows me pretty often, and she is here today. And my grandchildren often follow me, and they are still here. And believe me, we are going to be here for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 generations. That I really believe. I'll just say a few words in French. J'ai été dans les pensionnats, j'ai commencé à parler l'anglais ou à Conora. Je ne m'en répète pas exactement ce qui s'est passé là, parce que j'étais trop jeune. Lorsque j'ai appris que j'allais à l'école à Pointe-Bleue, en octobre 1960, c'est là que j'ai appris qu'apprendre une autre langue, c'était, c'était un autre apprentissage, apprendre le français. Et puis j'ai été battu, j'ai été abusé. On a mis beaucoup de pression sur nous autres parce que parler français pour les autres, c'était quelque chose qu'il fallait qu'ils fassent. C'était leur façon de dire que vous n'êtes plus des Indiens, vous êtes colonisés. Mais c'est pas vrai. C'est comme j'ai mentionné tantôt en anglais, un ministre qui était là avait prédit en 1960 qu'il n'y aurait plus d'Indiens dans 20 ans. C'était en 1980, il n'y aurait plus d'Indiens. Non, c'est pas vrai. Je suis ici aujourd'hui. Ma fille est ici aujourd'hui aussi. Elle m'a supporté depuis longtemps. Et j'ai 9 petits-enfants que j'adore. Puis c'est ça la raison pourquoi je vis encore aujourd'hui. Parce que si je n'avais pas d'enfants, je ne serais probablement pas ici. C'est ça qui compte. Chaque enfant compte. Every child matters. That is the basic for me to say that children, they should never be slapped. They should be cuddled. They should be able to say to their mommy or daddy or brothers or sisters, I love you. That I didn't have the chance to say that. Back, my son was probably 25, 30 years old before I was able to say, I love you. And my daughter, I held her in my arms when she was born, and I took off the sweater. I'm sorry, it gets pretty heavy sometimes. But when I held her in my arms, that was the most magnificent moment in my life, holding my daughter in my life, you know, holding your baby, having her in your arms, and she was still the way she was born. She wasn't clean. The doctor wanted to have her cleaned. I says, no, I just want her to be the way she came to this earth, my daughter. And she is here today, and I'm so happy. And there's something before I go, and I usually don't read very much, but this one I want to say. Someone asked me a question the other day. How do you want to be remembered? That's a good question. I don't know what to answer. But I went home, lying down in bed, and I said to myself, how do I want to be remembered by? So during the night, I got up, start thinking. So I had some words that came out, and it came out like this. I want to be remembered as a survivor. I survived residential school. After I survived alcoholism, I survived depression, I survived racism at school and at work. Now I am surviving 2 cancers. Yes, I am a survivor. Thank you. And I'll say it in French one more time. Je veux qu'on se souvienne de moi comme un survivant. J'ai survécu au pensionnat. J'ai survécu à l'alcoolisme. J'ai survécu à la dépression. J'ai survécu au racisme à l'école et au travail. Aujourd'hui, je survis à 2 cancers. Oui, je suis un survivant. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur de Ganty, pour ce courage et pour avoir partagé ce témoignage avec nous tous. And thank you to everyone who has joined us here today to mark this important anniversary. To conclude this morning's event, I would like to invite Indigenous Experiences to sing a closing song followed by a closing prayer by Elder McGregor. A reminder as well that we are hosting a screening of the film Return to the Falls, the story of Elder Betty Rose, who is with us this morning, accompanied by Ipo Ericus, film director, and knowledge keeper Sandy Robinson. The screening is scheduled at 1 this afternoon in our Cineplus Theatre and live streamed of today's ceremony from Parliament Hill at 3 this afternoon as well. I hope you can join us for both. Alors encore une fois, merci d'avoir été des nôtres et d'avoir pris le temps de souligner cette journée importante. Merci.
Miigwech Aboriginal experiences, but I know them from back home, so they're called Eagle River, Kinusibi. Thank you, David, for your story, really, Miigwech. I think we're all on a healing journey, as our elders would say. And I really enjoyed the dancers, too. I was looking at the child, because growing up in Kitagan Zibi, we had Elder William Kamanda, and I was in the 60s and the 50s, and he was steadfast on trying to hold on to the culture, because people don't know that even our ceremonies and our sacred items were confiscated. And I remember going to we'd have powwows by Bidabee Lake, and there'd be Indians coming from all over, even from the United States. And we used to love that, because you'd run wild, and we were the same size as the dancer here, and learn different songs, meet other kids. And then one year, the next year, we were all packed to go camp out by the lake, and the RCMP officers were there, and they stamped out the fire and threatened to arrest everybody. And they had stopped also the Indians coming at the border even. So again, we didn't have any gatherings or powwows again until 1986. And we started again with one little like microphone, and we had stumps for chairs. And now today, last year, we've had thousands of people coming to our annual powwow. And it's just a gathering. But again, this would be outlawed. Smudging would be outlawed. So again, that's reconciliation too, and understanding why we lived the way we did too as well. And it's honoring that contrast and diversity, because if we were all homogeneous or all the same, I think this earth would be a little bit boring. So on that note, it's honoring that and understanding that, and I thank you for coming here. So I say miigwech. Onje gigi bija gonje nongom onje jamaondose gonje shuen mishnonin abigis miigwech onje kakina widokwa kakina kanche squatne gwede simene shich nigikendane kin kidebendan kakina gagijendan kakina shuen mishnonin abigis kanche squatne gwede simen kego shich kana noshkushne gwede simen widokwa kakina pamadze je konje onagdo abdan kakina guj pamadazuin ashich kakina guch ninda kiman ashich nidondanis oshe non gomon jena bashkadagmak ninda banoji shak mamdege kamashe denizwa gonshe shwen mishnona shich widokwa ne chayag ashich manidog widokwishin miya miigwech ya miigwech. I sang a little thank you for allowing us to come together here today. And it's always a reminder too as well, we're here for the future generations too. And so this reconciliation should not only be one day, every day is Reconciliation Day. So thank you, miigwech, everybody, and thank you, Caroline, and the museum, and actually too in the monument of Stanley Hunt, because I was just thinking about that too. One of the elders said the location here, they had it was a special site, or a special site, but it was underground. But again too, it's almost like it's a revival of this special site here. So, miigwech, thank you. Merci, and have a good day.